Welcome everybody. Welcome to Blue House Bull Session. Happy Wednesday. We are live coming at you. Fuzzy, which side are you on? That side. How's this even work? With a brand new computer streaming from new technology. Can you tell us a little bit about your new machine?
It's colorful.
Aren't they all anymore?
No, my old computer, God rest its big heavy soul, had no lights in it. The only thing lit up on it was the few little traces on the motherboard and the LEDs on the side of the video card, which I could not turn off. I could turn them dim, but there was no other lights in it. This one has all of the color effects because apparently that is the pattern I do. As I alternate at either end of it, it's either all of the colors
You're either
or
Vegas
none.
proper or Nevada desert. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
because,
amazing.
because the machine before that one had all of. Before that one was the one with the bubble lights and the cold cathode tubes and
Was
stuff.
that the one that had the fan in it? He had a machine that had a fan. See, I've got a little bit of, just tiny bit of hearing damage, so I've got some tinnitus. And he had a fan that spun at the right frequency to make the exact like frequency noise of the ringing in my ears. And I nearly removed my head from my neck with frustration about it.
That was the CPU cooler, and it actually had coil line.
That would be why then.
It
That would be
it
why.
wasn't the fan. It was actually actual coil line. Um, no, I'd actually bought the parts a while ago, and it had been one of my summer car type project.
Yeah.
It was sitting in the background right there.
Just
You may
kind of
have noticed it in
chilling.
previous shots. Yeah, there was a big honking mess of computer here, and now it's over there making all the bits.
All set up and doing its thing properly. I love that. I love that.
It was 8 years coming. Uh, well, not 8 years coming, but my the other computer was 8 years old, so it was time to be replaced for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I had some interesting troubles with getting it converted because as much as I had long time to prepare, I had not prepared.
I get that.
There
I
are
get that.
things. It is an interesting adventure that you never realize how and where some of your things are stored and what gets backed up and what doesn't,
Yep. Yep.
and how you can even export things if you can or you forget to.
Because no matter how much preparation you do, there's something's going to be missing and something's going to be wrong.
Yeah.
I've got my checklist. I have one specifically for work. When they migrate us to a new machine or your machine gets imaged, what am I going to need for work related stuff right now? And I have a skeleton of one if I move from computer to computer because in the last couple of years I've had to do that. I've had hard drives blow up on me and stuff, and eventually I just got mad at a computer and got a new one. And I'm not sure I made the right choice with that, but it's better. It's less bad. It's less bad. We'll call that better. I don't know where to go with that. But considering how much time you and I spend using these things, you can't really afford to go without one too long.
Yeah.
I depend on mine for everything. I wish that you had. I wish I would have thought about it more, so that we could get some way so you could have streamed Frankensteining your new one and scavenging two or three things from your old one. because computer assembly is just like building the models you build.
Oh yeah,
You know,
the it would not have been as bad, but I need one of the key components was the video card, and I did not have an extra video card. Even if I would have, even if I would have had my old 980, I did not have any second video card. So getting it out of the old one and into the new one to set up the new one and forgot a file, and there I hit a point where I forgot a bunch of key files, and I was trying to get the old machine up and working enough, and the onboard video did not want to do more than 640, which nothing in Windows wanted to do.
nothing fits in that
Um,
anymore.
no. And I was coming from a 1440 monitor, so everything was sized for that.
Yeah.
So at some point I like gave up and just took the old video card and put it back in there to get it up, get a bunch of files onto a thumb drive, shared the C drive so I could like network share it, and then put it back. You know, it was like, well, we have one heart and two patients, but we need to like get consent from the new. Oh, we forgot to get consent from the old one, so take the heart back out and put it back in the old donor. And just like,
Long enough to wake them up and make them sign this paper.
yeah.
That is some house level, yeah. Not goodery there. Eh,
And believe it or not, the only problem I'm having right now is USB.
not enough.
Not enough because my old machine had more. I had an extra USB card that brought some of the header
Ah,
ones
yeah,
outside,
yeah.
and it was just enough. And apparently, some of my devices, as I found out, Elgato, they make products. They make a number of products, and they're fairly good products. I have a Stream Deck. I also have a capture box thingy. The Stream Deck, despite being plugged in through a USB C on the back, loses its absolutely goddamn mind if it's plugged into a USB 3 hub or port. It's not even like, oh, I can't use a hub because there's weird
Right.
weird things in the USB spec. But if it's plugged into a USB 3 anything, it loses its mind.
That's so weird.
Yes.
I don't understand why. I'm confused.
Now, what makes sense is sometimes it's the other way. Is it has to be on USB 3
Right.
like the stream box because it has to pull power from that because that box isn't pulling its own power. It's a capture card that'll do 4K and it's only powered with USB. So okay, it's got to be in USB the USB 3 port because it's got to be rated to pull not just 5 volts. It needs like the full like 15 volts you can pull because it's a capture card. That makes
Right.
sense. I get
Right.
that. That capture card will turn on and blink at you red and capture audio over the USB, but will refuse to power up the video, send you a video signal, and will like brown out and give you just enough where it will flicker. Like I'm here, but I'm not. I'm here, but I'm not. Here, if it's on USB 2, it doesn't tell you like, hey, this has got to be on USB 3 port. We need the additional power. I'm alive enough to tell you. No, no, no. It gives you a nondescript partial error code as it blinks on and off, struggling to survive.
That's that's rough. That's rough.
But I have two I had a USB extension cable over there that I put a hub on the end of it because I have a bunch of things. I have the other camera, I have that microphone, I have that. I have a lot of USB things, so I brought power strips basically out to where I need them. Despite both of them having blue ends, one of them does not apparently count as a USB 3 device.
I no. Something is wrong because the blue
Yeah.
indicates that it is USB 3.
So a bunch of re-rigging and plugging and trying things out, I eventually got a combination of things that I don't have 6-foot USB extensions going across the room, that I got everything plugged in together and in the right order. That also, to further complicate matters, I have two webcams. I have the overhead one for when I do the build things,
Yeah.
right? They cannot be on the same USB chip.
Hmm.
They're both generic. They both use the same generic no-name USB controller in it. And if they're on the same USB chip upstream, their IDs conflict because they both register at like entity 7.
I had something like that with Logitech cameras.
Mm-hmm.
My C920
Yes.
I couldn't run with any other Logitech camera at all.
If you check how your USB ports are powered on your computer, if like, because sometimes you're like, oh, the ports over here are on their own separate USB controller. You'll see that mentioned sometimes.
Yeah.
Or like this capture card like has a separate controller for each port. That's why. Is because ultimately when they get to a controller chip, that's the thing that actually like I am the ID and I will talk to the computer for you. If both of them go to the same chip on the motherboard, they will not work.
Mm.
So as long as and the USB ports on the back of your computer are usually grouped on separate chips, like vertically, but if they're like connected in a stack, they go to the same traces and then down.
Yeah.
So like they can't I can't plug them in like this, but I can plug them in like this and they're fine.
And
So
front and
so my
back would
solution,
probably be, huh?
yeah, the front ones usually go to a different chip. So I had my one camera plugged into the front USB, and I'm like, that's not sustainable because I don't want to use that port because it's way over there.
Yeah.
So it's the dumbest things.
Yeah.
That's the level of like, okay, I lost some files, I can rebuild, and I managed to get most of it back.
Which is good. Which is good.
The biggest, the one thing I was not able to get back, and it's totally not the end of the world, my Infinite Craft save.
Oh, that's rough.
I had some discoveries in there. I had a bunch of discoveries.
Me too, like the Merc Thulu Poo Thulu Poo Poo True. I don't. What was even going on that night that we were playing, and I was just manufacturing the dumbest combinations of things.
I don't know.
I don't either, but that was impressive. Speaking of Infinite Craft, have you seen Infinite Split?
No.
Boy, oh boy, have I got a link to send you after stream. Inspired by Infinite Craft, someone used GPT backing and a local LLM to split things into component elements until they get to an indivisible level. And I have a game to send you. I have a game
Well, you
to
know,
send you.
Infinite Craft is also LLM backed, which is
Yeah,
why some
yeah,
of the
yeah.
decisions don't make. Why you can get Lion King and The Lion King, and
Right.
that's why it's because, yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw it on Hacker News, and when I was reading the comments on it and a little bit more about how it was put together and all of that, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Wait a minute, why aren't we doing that?
Can I rant about another thing?
I insist.
I was running Windows 10 because that's what was out. That was popular at the time when I built the machine 8 years ago. I could not upgrade to Windows 11 because my old computer did not have. I think the CPU was just barely within the range that was in the Windows. Everything was fine. I even had a TPM chip. I bought an external TPM module that plugged into a TPM slot. That's how old the computer was. Is it was an optional board.
Yeah.
It was something my computer did not have UEFI BIOS or something, or I had it, but I could not turn it off because of some hardware combination. So I was stuck in Windows 10. They stopped putting out some updates to Windows 10 a while ago,
Yeah.
right? Like they're about to put the last like no for real patch out soon. Do you know what the biggest, most annoying thing about being stuck in Windows 10 is?
Hmm.
You don't get the new patches that have the emoji updates.
Oh, I
They're
didn't
not
even
security
think
related.
about that.
So the last 3 batches of emoji have not been pushed out to Windows 10.
Oh, that's
Like I said,
gross.
the dumbest thing. I updated my computer And I use emojis all over the place because it's a cheap, quick way to get an icon in things.
Yeah.
All the emojis changed in my software because there are different icons set in Windows 11.
Ew. So now everything
Yes.
looks unfamiliar. Everything looks foreign and alien.
Everything in Infinite Craft is all text-based emojis.
Yeah.
They're not graphics. They're just straight up the Unicode emojis. So everything in Infinite Craft looks different. That is the most first world problem I have ever heard.
It's the same thing with Smort. When we wrote when the sorting game we have for Hercule is emoji based, and it looks different from
Mm-hmm.
platform to platform because of that.
Yeah.
I also thought, hey, this won't be a problem, and then I found someone with an old iPhone, and they're like, I don't know what this is, and there's just a Unicode missing character symbol in one of the files, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, ew,
Yep.
that ain't right. That ain't right at
It's
all.
it was one of those things that I have brought up in a meeting in a past work life. And someone's like, oh, we'll just go put, like, can we just put an emoji? I'm like, be warned, emojis are not universal. They
Mm-hmm.
are very commonly themed, and all the big people that do things all kind of agree they'll roughly do the same thing. And over time, they become homogenous, but they are not the same.
Right.
And you are entirely at the whim of those people that can arbitrarily change the gun emoji,
Yep.
and
It's a
more
squirt gun now.
recently the right. But it was only just like one of them changed to a squirt gun. Or yeah, Apple had changed to a squirt gun first, way before anybody else had changed theirs. So iPhone users saw a little toy squirt gun, like, oh, let's go to the park and give the kids some and let them have some fun. And everybody else is seeing like an old like metal like
A revolver,
revolver.
yeah.
Yeah. And then during the pandemic they changed the syringe icon to have it like had they changed it to add blood in it, or they took the blood out. I don't remember which way, but they changed it during the pandemic because to get people, because it like looked weird. People like was everybody was using like they're like, oh, go get your jab, and they're like the syringe emoji was a different thing then, and so they changed that, and it was one of the few times they ever pushed that out because there's a lag. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, there's a there's a lag. The um the emoji committee will like, okay, we're putting out the 2024 batch. This is what we approve these changes are. And then it takes a long time
Yeah.
for that to be for everybody to implement for that to get officially ratified. And then there's even lag for everybody to get their shit together. And yeah, okay, yeah, they've removed the blood. That's what it was.
Apparently, it
There's a
used to
huge
be used for blood donation a lot.
mm-hmm. And there's a lag when everybody pushes out their next OS update that gets that change. So like the 2023 stuff
Yeah.
is just now coming out now, and it's almost a year later. But when they made that change, they rushed that out very quickly.
Far out. Far
Yeah,
out.
but that's why like don't trust that emojis are always the same.
They changed the paella after inauthentic ingredients. Who
Yeah,
puts the cheese under the meat on a burger?
I that just never made sense.
Bagel emoji saga. If that's not a band name, I never heard one. And then yeah, to change the appearance of the pistol, it ended up turning into
Mm-hmm.
a squirt gun.
It's there's thousands of emoji now. The set has gotten very big, and it's only a few controversies like this that have ever happened. And yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's wild. It
Uh-huh.
makes sense, but it's wild nonetheless. The top 10 are pill, microbe, tears of joy, medical mask, crying face, red heart, sparkles, fire.
Yes. Click on it.
Beep boop.
I assume this is Emoji. I assume this is Emojipedia. Yeah.
Yeah. I was flipping through. Goes great with. I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, then the whole right versus left facing thing
Yeah.
is finally getting fixed. They're adding a zero width joiner modifier, and you can put it before any emoji, and it just will flip it
Nice. Nice.
because all the emoji are always going to the left. If you notice, and
Yeah.
it's a Japanese thing. It's a motion thing, but like some very few random ones were like going to the right, and it was very inconsistent, and you couldn't like have two emoji facing each other. And they're like, we can just fix this. We can add a modifier. So the same way you can like change the hair color. You put like gray plus man, and you get man with gray hair. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you can put right facing on a left emoji, and it will just flip them.
Yeah.
Emoji are weird.
They're neat as a concept, but it's way more complex. Look, rendering text on a screen in the first place is way more complex than it has any right to be,
Mm-hmm.
especially
Yes.
in a world of internationalization. And then when you add arbitrary characters that aren't standardized in their display, even if their content is prescribed by the Unicode consortium, their actual
Mm-hmm.
display is vendor specific.
Yes.
That's it's like dates and times. Don't do it yourself. Someone else figured this out. Trust them. Let's all lean on the one text rendering provider.
I think that was one of the greatest things to come to the internet was when the HTML committee
Yeah.
working group, whatever they are, got off their collective butts and started actually making improvements to the base HTML spec finally, and not just like, well, we have the original spec and everybody just uses different libraries, and they're like, well, this library's got this type of date picker, and this one's got this one, and this one's got this one, and then they started expanding in HTML5. They expanded all the different input types,
Yeah.
and that included proper date and time pickers, and then nobody had to like roll their own. You could just put input type date and it just worked.
I
And it's
find
like, oh, we just get this for free now. We don't have to do, everybody has their own date picker, input thing. We could just, there's a color picker one.
yeah.
There's an
Yeah.
HTML color picker.
I like that. I like that very very much. But daily chess. We went through
Mm-hmm.
a couple different calendars, and I'm like, yeah, none of these work quite the way I want. And you said put in a date field, and I'm like, wait, that's a thing now.
Yeah.
So now we have that, although I may still want to put a calendar, but it would be a static calendar. I don't care about clicking on it. Just show the month you're looking at.
I think there might be a calendar thing too,
We
not
I
just a
yeah.
date selector. I think there's a calendar view thing now.
I should go look into that then, definitely.
Well, even doing a calendar, there's a controversy of what day is the first day of the week.
Yeah, that is true because I have seen Sunday and Monday in print calendars. God help us on a computer.
It's a Fahrenheit versus Celsius thing. Which is it for?
Yeah.
Is this calendar for businesses? Start the week on Monday because that's when the work week starts. That's when people work. That's the beginning of the week. So put Monday as the first.
Yeah.
Is it for human beings that operate in the world? Put Sunday as the first because that is the wrapping point and it's the center in the middle.
I don't yeah. The thing is Daily chess Sudoku is largely inspired by Daily Killer Sudoku,
Mm-hmm.
and it uses Monday as the start of the week,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's a game. So I don't know. I'm used to thinking Sunday, but it I won't say immaterial. It is not of huge consequence in this particular project, but it's something that has to be thought about and decided on, even if the decision's arbitrary. It is a decision that needs to be made. And there absolutely are other decisions that need to be made for that one, too, although we're running through a lot of those quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What,
New
what,
game coming. New game coming.
what happened? Everything just exploded all at once. I think Matt just got not busy, and then you were like, "Oh crap, he's doing it. I better do it too." And I saw that, and I'm like, "Oh crap, they're doing it. I better do it too."
When I fixed the login and when I fixed the login styling and I made the registration page actually work, you could actually get in there and test things. And that sort of like
Fair.
it wasn't a loose collection of things. It was that sort of it's the over it's the edge of the puzzle problem. Once there's structure, you can
Yeah,
build on it. When there's no structure, you have a box of parts.
yeah.
You know,
That's what it
houses
is.
do the
Some
same thing.
scaffolding to hang it on. The
Yeah.
inverse of the broken window problem.
When you have a whole bunch of materials sitting on your lot, you don't have a house. As soon as you put up those framed walls, a house can go up very quickly. I watched them build an entire house in the span of 3 days down the street from me. It's like, oh, they're building. Oh, there's some walls up. It'll be a while. The next day, the walls were all full and they were putting on the roof. By day 4 or 5, they were starting to build the next house next to it.
That's so
Those houses
cool.
were up and for sale sign in less than 2 months.
That's so
And that was only
cool.
because they probably took so long to get them permitted and like inspected. If they would have had that quicker, they would have been open. Like they just like here is some wood, here is a rectangle, now it is a house. Done.
Man, man.
Code happens like that.
It does. I cannot deny that. It definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially when you're working with other people. I
Yeah.
can go from zero to concept in 4 hours all by myself, but to turn it into an actual thing takes a little bit more of an investment. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm thankful I got you guys too. Telling you, telling you, we should buy that building. We should put an office there. My day job has been doing a little bit of overall downsizing over the past couple of years and watching unneeded expenditures. And they put a bunch of their buildings up for sale. They've now got one building that is the campus. They're closing all the other offices and buildings. I want to buy one of them. Want the slides, especially the curly slide that goes to the cafeteria. I want that building. Hergel World Headquarters. Man, man, that would be cool. You know what I miss about The Office? He says in an awkward segue, these things. Half sheet 5x8 notebooks. I could just go up to the front desk and be like, hey, I need a bunch of those notebooks. And they would hand me a pile, and I don't pay for them. I'm using them to write in. I don't have to pay for those or buy my own. Now I have to buy my own. I can't just go get a bunch of notebooks anymore. Good thing I have.
They don't have them at all, or you're not there.
They changed their policy on those. I can order them through work and have them delivered on a PO from Office Depot or whatever, but it's now a process. Like Physical office supplies are pretty much all PO now, aside from stuff they keep on hand. And nobody's in the office, so nobody keeps notebooks on hand. Yeah, yeah. Post-its I could get. All the Post-its I want, I could go get. They have those. Or I could order them and have them delivered straight to me, which I might want to. I don't know. I kind of need Post-its so I can make my little Kanban board on the wall here.
I have 4x4 lined Post-its.
I have 3x3 pink ones. God, we're nerds.
I have a 4x4 Post-it holder.
Oh, cool. Oh, cool.
You just I have. You want to do Kanban? I have white Post-its.
Ooh, fancy.
Do you want a brick? I'll give you one.
I wouldn't turn one down. And next time I see you, if you bring me a brick of Post-its, I'll trade you. I don't know what I'll trade you for it. I'll give you something and trade for it. You want to? You want to? What do I even have? You want to? You want a container of marinara sauce for your mozzarella sticks? Extreme Post-its
Yes.
in neon colors for when you need to get your point across aggressively, huh?
They are indoor-outdoor Post-its.
What?
They're ready to stick on wood, brick, hot and cold, and wet.
What?
I am a nerd.
I should not be as interested in that as I am. But I very, very much am, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Oh, I love that stuff. Oh, I love it.
Oh, where did that go?
I am such a simp for the office supplies. You want to take me on a date, take me out to dinner, and then let's go walk around Office Max afterwards. You know?
No, not Office Max. We need to go to. It may be a slight road trip. There's a replacement for what used to be Holcomb's.
Yeah, the teacher supply store. Yeah, we need to find out. I want to go there. Find out and let me know. I need to put that on my list. I need to check that place out.
And I don't know where the actual pad went, but I have this size, which is approximately, for scale, it's about that size next to a piece of paper. I don't know what. It's probably one of the small things. It's probably an A size.
Yeah,
but little. It's like a mini legal pad, except
they're sticky.
They're Post-its,
Dude,
so
that's
like,
awesome.
Like, okay, cool. For when I need to write a whole list of things, and then it is also a pad of Post-it notes.
That is amazing. Man, I'm starting to feel inadequate with my office supplies now. I'm slacking. I need to step up my game.
It kind of angers me that I don't know where that pad went. It was just here. I just wrote this 2 days ago.
It'll turn up. It'll turn up.
Yeah.
My other one is pens, and I'm not like picky about pens, but I get the purple ones. They have a display at Office Max now that is just assorted Papermate Inkjoy gels in a zillion colors. And I go from pink to purple and grab one of each. And just kind of keep. I'm, as you have gathered, I am one of those crazy purple people. Purple people are their own flavor, man. If your favorite color is blue, you probably have some blue stuff. If your favorite color is red, you might have a red shirt you like a lot. If your favorite color is purple, there is not a single person that does not know it. everything is purple, and that is pretty unique to purple people. But I am guilty of that, 100%. But yeah, it's just I have a small handful of the pens that I like that work well that go in my little half sheet notebooks that I have a giant pile of. I got no memory. I got no memory whatsoever. If I don't write it down somewhere, I'm gonna forget it. So I have learned to just carry a notebook and write it down. If you see me, there's gonna be paper within arm's reach of me. Just hard stop.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I use a computer all the time, which is a device for storing and transforming data in the first place, you know, I have to have it written on physical paper. Hi, Maddie.
Do you know why that is?
I have some guesses. One of them is I know for a fact that the physical act of writing enforces different connections in your brain to help it stick. Having it written down can serve as a trigger to remind you of the context and everything, but the content is more likely to stick overall if you make a physical interaction out of it. That's the same reason that I tell people to say things out loud. If you have an
Mm-hmm.
idea and you want to remember it and you can't write it down, say it out loud to yourself and phrase it as a command. Because the saying it will trigger
Yep.
one part of your mind, hearing it as an order will trigger a different part of your mind, and they're all just different hooks to keep that
Yep.
idea in your mind.
It is, without getting down the whole rabbit hole of how do you think when I say picture an apple, are you picturing the concept of an apple or an outline of an apple or a 3D red apple? That whole thing. It's the same thing. The act of, you have a thought in your head, you have that idea. It is an abstract thought, amorphous cloud thing. It is not words you see on the screen.
Yeah.
Your brain converts the two, but you just have a thought. The act of writing it, your brain has to translate that to words, and then words turn into letters, and then letters turn into, okay, now I have to go get the muscle memory out and make that. So that's three different departments that got, you know,
Yep.
making flashcards. It was the dumb reason they made us make, transcribe your notes in school and make flashcards. Flashcards were dumb, but it was more the fact of, it has to process through your hands, through your eyes, through your text processing centers, and then you're processing it back in, which is through your visual cortex, through your language centers,
Yep.
back into your storage. It is just, look, we don't know how you learn, but this method is going to scattershot all of them, and one of them will be how you learn, and it will stick in your head.
It's the same thing with the Japanese rail system and what they call the point and say system. When they're like
Yes.
doing the inspections or announcing things, you look at the thing you are interacting with, you point at it so there is a physical interaction and you speak it out loud when you're doing your inspection. That way you have seen it, you have acknowledged that you have seen it, you have described what you've seen, and all of the parts of your brain are wired together to keep you from falling in the routine of like, yeah, that's still there, check, yeah, that's still there, check, yeah, that's still there, check, without even bothering to check. That physical action forces you to devote different parts of your mind to that action.
That's why on airplanes, they tell you to put your devices down for a minute, pay attention to the stewardess. Yes, you know where the exits on an airplane are. And yes, you know where they're, but you are watching a person point to it, and they're pointing, and your exits are here or behind you. You're seeing where they're looking, and you're going to look there, and you're hearing the words, and you're hearing that, like, that's why they do that in airplanes.
Yeah, it 100% is because as much as you know it, it's not in your short term memory. It's stored in your long term memory. You could find it. But in case of emergency, your brain's in panic mode. It's using immediate signals. If that
Yeah.
information's floating around in the pile of immediate signals still, you're good. You're Gucci.
I got yelled at on a plane once because I got in my seat, got all my stuff done, got my headphones, my big noise canceling headphones and my sleep mask and all my stuff, and I'm ready to like hunker down and like do my thing. I'm getting all set, and like I'm already blocked out. I'm
Yeah.
already I'm already half hour into that flight before they haven't even shut the door yet. You know, I am right. I am pro season traveler. I'm ready to go. They're like, sir, you have to. They're like, lady, I have flown just as many miles as you have this year. I could give this speech literally half asleep and drunk, probably quicker than you can. I am good. I know where it's at. And they're like, oh, okay. You know, but they don't know.
Yeah.
Like I want like a little I want like a badge or something. Like my well traveled here I've got my 10 punch cards. I know the routine. I don't need to pay attention to the safety lesson.
Maybe they should have a program for that. Or when you buy your ticket, you can make some kind of indicator. You can mark, hey, I've done this once or twice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like those presentations.
We always flew United because position of the hub and frequent flyer miles and contract and stuff, but it was either United or whoever was Continental before the airline merger. They have good safety inspections. Their safety videos were always fun. So I would watch them once in a while when new ones came. It's like, oh, it's this one. They haven't changed in 2 years. Okay, I'll go back to sleep.
Yeah. Man. See, I haven't flown in a very long time at this point. I think it's been 10 years. It's been a little over 10 years.
When did I last fly?
The last the last time I
Um.
flew, they flew me out to interview me for Highland, and I've been there 10 years now. So
Oh wow.
that's the last time I was on an airplane. Yeah.
I used to go a lot more, and then just general as I had a kid and things. You know, I like, hey, can I like not do this?
Yeah.
Um, I think I flew out twice for work during the pandemic. Like once right before it, once about a year later when things were okay. Yeah, this is life now. We can find a hotel and do stuff. We can. This is pandemic, but society is functioning.
Yeah.
And then another one like, hey, you got to wear your mask in the lobby, just because you know you never know random people. But once we're in the rooms, like, take it off. We're either all gonna get sick or nobody's gonna get sick. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I miss some aspects of flying.
I get it. I get it. As gentlemen of stature, both of us have some similar issues with it, though. But you
Yeah, it
can absolutely prepare for that. You can.
it's yeah. If seats were a little bit wider, I would not mind it. It was more well, me with the height
Yeah.
because they also like if we take an inch and a half of leg of thigh length room off of everybody's seat, we can put a whole nother row. No, you know what? If you take that back and give everybody 2 inches of knee length back, you can charge me an extra $50 for that ticket.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Easily. I had a blister on my kneecap from one of the flights from where my knee I'm all the way back. I'm pushed all the way back, and my knee still had to be pressed against that hard surface.
Yeah.
Like there was no way for me to not have my knee against the thing because it was like very short rows. And it's like, dude, I know I'm on the taller side and I have long, you know, thigh length and stuff, but like just just even an inch.
Yeah. Just enough that you're not pressed. Delta is good about that? Question mark. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll have to.
they don't gram them in a little bit as much.
Maybe I'll have to keep my eyes open on them next time I go somewhere. Who am I kidding? I'm gonna drive. If it's Australia, I'm gonna drive. It's just gonna be a very long, soggy one. Man, oh man. Yeah, it's not even so much the traveling. I don't really go places. I go to events and I go to people, but I don't really go to places. I kind of miss the airport. It's like a mall with planes.
I always used to say if I could just like, you know, the same way you drive down to like the bus depot or the
Yeah,
the transit depot where the buses and the trains get on, and then you take large transport somewhere else. If I could just drive to the teleport center
yeah,
and just bamf to California to go to work, I would go. It wasn't going. I didn't have a problem going to the office. It was the going to the office.
yeah, yeah. No, I
But at the
very
same
much get
time,
that.
that going was its own experience.
Yeah, yeah.
It, a bunch of people I used to work with, they were all we everybody was very spread out, so everybody traveled a lot, so everybody ended up with like a lot of miles, and they all ended up in super ultra double diamond platinum club or whatever, and you had to meet so many. You had to get so many miles in a year to keep that. Once you got the status, you had to get less to maintain it, but you just had to rack up miles.
Yeah.
What they would do is at the beginning of the year, right off the bat, they would all take a miles run trip, and they would book an itinerary. It was like a 3-day trip where they took off from, we'll say, San Francisco, and they would travel across the globe, airport to airport, just racking up fly time miles. They would fly from San Francisco to New York, New York to London, and London to Spain, and then Spain to over and they would just like spend an hour or two in the airport and then get on another airplane, and they would just take a trip around the world in a weekend just in the air to get enough air miles racked up to keep their platinum status. And then they 3 days later they come home and they haven't gone anywhere.
They've been around, but they ain't gone. And yeah, I like that.
But they spend, I think they said like in the 72-hour period they would spend about 65 of it in the air. But yeah, extreme couponing. It A lot of it was like this leg to this, and that like you could get these because it's all effectively one-way trips to that airport. It's not I fly to London and I fly back. It's a one-way trip here and a one-way trip here and a one-way trip there, effectively. And as long as your destination ends up back where you're at, the airline's like, you're not flying because you're taking a one-way trip. It's no, I'm taking many one-way trips and I'm ending back at my destination. Like, oh, okay, you're one of those people. Yeah, that's cool. But these people knew the fun things to do in airports, and if you have double ultra secret double platinum club, you get into the good lounges, which are better than some hotels, and the good bars where all the good booze is free. And yeah.
I'm rapidly approaching that with a certain hotel chain because Saturn is in that chain. Where I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking for the next Zeldathon event, if I go spend like a weekend at one of those chain hotels near here, I might have enough points to like get 3 of my Zeldathon nights free.
At a bigger city at an event that maybe it may be worth doing that is get the
Yeah,
points at a local small one, and
yeah.
then yeah.
Just be like, hey, I'm taking a vacation for a weekend. Where are you going? A hotel, a jacuzzi suite. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Marinate for 48 hours and then go home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been thinking about that more between Echoes and Dimensions. I got hella points and I have many points left, and
The other thing to consider there, and it would take a little bit of upfront capital to do so, obviously, but you would make it back, is if you have enough higher tier status, you get the discounts on the rooms, and you could get the rooms cheaper, and you could go and book 2 or 3 rooms
yeah,
at your cheaper bubble thing, and then collect even more points for those, and then sublet them. Like I am buying these rooms, and here are the people that are staying with me, and then they just
Yeah.
pay you back,
Yeah.
but you can get them cheaper because you are, you know, platinum status or whatever.
Yeah. I'm
And
I'm thinking I might end up doing that this time too for other reasons, but yeah. I just know as an organization we always end up with people like yeah, I'm interested. I have no idea what's going on with the room situation, and rather than have four people panicking and just kind of bump into each other and be like, "Yeah, I guess we can split this." If I can say, "All right, I got this room. It has two beds. Four of you take it."
just
I'll
well, especially an event like a Zeldathon where
yeah,
there's day and night shift. You could hotbed it. It's like, look, well, you're there doing your thing. Somebody else go and sleep.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. That would be the way to do it. Absolutely be
wasn't
the
that
way to
how
do it.
the the train hotel in
Yeah,
Kansas?
yeah.
Isn't that basically how that worked? Is you could just like,
You got a room for 8 hours. Yes,
yeah,
it was booked in a sleeping shift. 100%. That was how that worked. And because the trains are always running, what a business model they had, man.
but were they on time? Bad joke. Bad joke.
Well, you see, the thing about that is, but I digress. Man.
Is it almost break time?
Just about. We got a few more minutes before break time. I know we were talking about the new stuff coming out. I wanted to let you guys know Hergel Studios is setting up an itch.io page, and in the relatively near future here, we will have Can Do available on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the web version, but the full desktop version with all the bells and whistles. Because I have cards to add bells and I have cards to add whistles.
What
um,
what are we gonna do different on that? Like, what can you do differently that you can't do in the web version?
well, I posted a thing about this earlier. I want to make it a Discord activity, not like play in Discord, but I want it to by default show if you're playing and you have it enabled. I want it to set your status to
Oh, the live status. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I want that. I want that. Um,
Presence or whatever they call that. Yeah.
and I don't know what else. I have I have a couple
Play
ideas I've been kicking around, but I'm not sure what else.
play your own music because you'll have access to a local file browser then.
That's true. I don't know if I want to bake in a whole music player though, even though it wouldn't be difficult to
Well,
do.
okay, not can do. I'm thinking in general, like what
What can we
some
add
of
to
the other
games
games
that are desktop worthy?
that are music based
Yeah.
rather than just your music.
Um, Another thing when we get to the multiplayer point, that it's going to be a lot more helpful for that.
Oh, yeah, that's true too.
And I don't know. We'll come up with something special. We'll make it worth your while. We will.
Hmm.
Add your
I
own
mean, there's also the
products.
I mean, there's the possibility. Not, I mean, not just with the things we have right now, but other games may only be available through that because there's whole concepts of things we don't even want to try to do on a web version at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But we can distribute as a local executable that will just work better.
Honestly, I'll level with you. I'm still down for like writing stuff in JavaScript and packaging it with an Electron wrapper, but it gives us access to a bunch of other stuff that is easier to do in a local executable. You can do it in JavaScript, and then Electron has integrations with Bleep Blop Bloop. So the big example is Tilt and Tumble. In a browser, you have to connect a web HID device and use it in a specific way, and there's a pop up
Yeah.
to the user that says, "Hey, this is trying to access your whatever. You have to click 6 times, and remember connections. Enjoy your meeting. Have fun." Um, but in a packaged executable, we can just be like, "Yeah, give me that."
Yeah.
The biggest thing you'll get is not having to click the play button at the beginning. All of our games start on that, like the web games start on the black screen and you click play before anything happens. None of that. None of that. That's a thing of the past in Electron. That I am
Ironically, that you
excited for.
said a thing of the past because it's only a modern thing because that didn't used to be a thing in the past
No,
because
yeah, that is true.
autoplay.
Yeah, autoplay. Also, no ads. Not that we have a whole lot of ads in the first place, but no ads. It's a guarantee of no ads, is what it is.
Yeah, we unfortunately will be slowly turning on as unobtrusive as we can physically make them token Google ads or something related on the game pages, to make those few pennies as people do play games.
Yeah, but part of this in the first place is uh, trying to make it as painless for you as a user as possible. I wrote can do because I saw an ad for a mobile game that was kind of like that, and I knew from experience I'm not about to install that on my phone and wait for 3 whole minutes of ads before I can play the next round.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing microtransactions, so I can like buy a day of play for free for $10 or subscribe to our $5 a month whatever and get a bonus can or any of that junk. No. I understand it. Okay, I understand why it's done. I cannot stand it. I understand why it's done. I like money. I like money a lot, but I like positive experiences for the people that play our games more. I will let you talk now and stop screaming about ads.
What if? Okay, this is totally a. I don't remember that Jewel app that was $1,000 on the App Store, and this is totally horse armor. What if in Can Do you could? It's totally optional. It changes nothing in the gameplay, but you could make a one-time donation and it is straight like, look, this is straight up just going to us. You like the game you were giving us, but we gave you a free game. This is you, that thing where you retroactively buy the game by making a unlock that changes nothing but is effectively like, oh, I'm paying you the $5 that I would have bought the game, but I got the game for free up front. Shareware type thing.
Do you know what we do for that?
But all it does is change the graphic. The cans are sparkly. The shells are like, rich person gold plated and stuff. And this way, if somebody sees you playing, they know you, you know, like, yeah.
I
That's all it
will
does. Like you liked it enough that you bought the shiny horse armor and it's slightly different color.
I
The
will tell
sparkly
you
+1 version.
exactly what we do for that. You don't have to put sparkles on everything. You don't have to change, but the icon that I have on the executable version, the little can that's labeled can do, if you make your one-time purchase donation, if you have a paid version of the game, that becomes one of the items that can show up on your shelf. The only difference is whether you have 96 or 97 possible items that it cycles through. But if you are a paying customer, you get the can do can. There's your badge of honor.
And make it a wild card where it'll match with anything.
Nope, no gameplay changes.
Oh.
No gameplay changes. You just get one extra can type. Oh man. What
I like the idea of that, of we we don't want to take your money, but we will gladly take your money. We don't want to make you buy a thing,
Yes.
but we will gladly take your money after the fact if you feel like you want to support us or just you enjoyed it enough that would you now that you've played it would you have paid for this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of software like give us money up front before you use it. It's like no, that's not how things should work. We had decades and decades of shareware for this reason to see if it was even a thing you want.
And it worked well enough to put id Software on the map. They must be doing something right.
I've got software sitting here on my desktop that got auto pre-installed because of my motherboard package,
Oh, yeah,
and it
yeah,
was
crapware stuff.
no, not crapware. It's a software called Ada 64. It is information and tweaking software thing, and it came the MSI package pre-installed a trial version of it, and things like I can see it'll list my RAM, but it only shows me the stats on the first item. It sees all my sticks, but it says trial version for the other ones. But I can see what stats it would tell me about one of them so I know what it does. That's the way to do it.
It is. It is.
And it's like, oh, this software is actually kind of good. I may actually want to pay for this if I did this sort of thing more than, once a decade. This is software I would buy. I would not go and buy this software unused,
Right.
especially because it's 60 goddamn dollars.
But once you know it, you can say, I've gotten enough value out of this. Yes, it's worth this money. Let me give it to you.
Yeah.
I feel it. I feel it. All right. Yeah, I think I'll let you take your break now if you want to take a break. We're going to take about 5. Um, Go grab yourself some fresh water, stand up, all of that whatnot. We will be back with you guys in just a few.
Stay around, watch some ads.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for hanging out during the break. If you are not subscribed, you may have saw some ads, but that goes towards supporting all of our crazy ideas, and we appreciate you very much. For those of you who are subscribed, thank you for enjoying the soothing sounds of the Dick Schlesig combo performing Wichita Lineman. I have made an executive decision that until I'm told otherwise, that's going to be our intro and outro music. Pretty much because it runs the length of the entire show. I can just leave it on and we'll pick up wherever. I love that version. As a matter of fact, let me go get a link to it on YouTube so that you can enjoy it for yourselves. It is a reinterpretation of Wichita Lineman by Dick Schlesig combo, made of members of the uh, kind of grunge group Acetone. You may vaguely remember them. Um, but it is not just a short performance, it is an experience. It is a 42-minute re envisioning of the song as an atmospheric piece. And it is fantastic. One of my most listened songs. It has less plays than other songs, but that's because each listen takes most of an hour as opposed to 2.5 minutes. But yeah, there's a link in the chat there. By the way, if there's anything we ever talk about on here and you want to get caught back up on it, we do post on YouTube. I'll announce those as they go live in my Discord. There's a link to my Discord down below in the clicky thing. You can click on the thing and go to my Discord. You can also go to my treat stream and send me food. You can also just watch us here. You can do whatever you want to do. Just go for it. Yeah, we need a bot. We need a bot. I need a bot. We should talk about a
Give
bot.
me access. Give me access to your Nightbot. I'll set it up myself.
I gave you my Nightbot thing. I made
Did
you
you?
a mod on my Nightbot. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm fairly sure
I
I
got
did.
no notification. I got no notification of it.
You know, I spend some high quality time doing moderation for Amaya Sings, which, by the way, I'm going to shout out the lovely and talented Amaya Strings. Amaya Sings. Let me try that again. Amaya underscore Sings. If you are not following her, you absolutely should be. She has got an amazing golden voice, and she is one of the most kind and genuine human beings I know. She is just a blessing. Go make sure you're following Amaya. But I moderate for her streams, so like I'll spend some time updating the bot. I will watch the song queue as much as I can. I don't think I've had to kick anybody yet, but I've made some threats. You know, fun stuff like that. But as part of that, I'm starting to see all the things that should be done to do it well. I don't do any of them for myself. My stream is as Spartan as you can get. I mean, I'm genuinely surprised we have a background now. We didn't even start with one of those. But we have one now. We have one now. We have a background, we have a chat box. We have a little block up in the corner there where I'm going to put not not sponsors. I want to clarify this. That is not for commercial relationships, and none of them are paid. They are friends of mine that I want to support, and they are going to start rotating through more than just Turgle. But look at all that. Look at it's turning into a legitimate layout now. I really enjoy doing this podcast. I've been putting effort into it.
You're even in the right category, so you're in the top 5% of more than some of the other streamers that I know.
We're tagged with podcast as one of our tags. Yeah, no, I thought about putting us in Pokemon Scarlet Violet, but then I decided against it.
Oh my
god. The thing is, I would take sponsors. I'm not going to turn away sponsors. Nobody wants to sponsor us. But I have to disclose if we have sponsors. So we do not have sponsors. We are going to have friends until people decide they have some burning need to give us money. Speaking of which, Jacob, I want to talk to you about that. As one of my friends, we need to discuss putting you in that top box there so that I can advertise your upcoming projects. I haven't had a chance to look at the thing you sent me last night yet. I saw it, but I didn't look at it yet. But I do want to do more promotion for Desolate Realms. And I also very much want to encourage you to be healthy competition for Hergel Studios as game developers. You already beat us to Steam. And we need a DR command too, so we can pimp out Desolate Realms. Definitely, definitely. I
Like I said, it's not the genre of game I normally play, but it is a fun little game.
It is, it is. I am terrible at it, and we went on this whole rant last week about there is no logical reason for me to be so insistent that we put something on Steam aside from I want to be able to say we have a game on Steam because I feel like it grants me an air of legitimacy in doing this.
It's the same equivalent of being, oh, I've published a research paper,
Yeah.
so I am a published scholar. It's the same thing. That's entirely what it is.
I'm in a known place. I could do all of this never being there and still be a huge success. But just I just wanna. I just wanna. If you buy Can Do on Steam, you'll get the special Can Do can and also achievements.
And cards. And cards. Don't forget cards.
Cards have a minimum level of interaction. I have to get enough people to interact with it to get them to let me do cards. But
Oh,
achievements, I
really?
think you get out of the box.
Achievements, it cannot be a free game. It has to be a paid game.
That is not a problem. I will happily charge for Can Do. I'll give you a free version on the web, and I'll give you a flashy version with achievements and a special can on Steam.
Cookie Clicker is a good example of that. How
Yes,
many people played Cookie Clicker on the web for
decades,
ever?
decades. Yeah,
And then he's like, hey, I'm going to put it on Steam because y'all like this for some reason. And people bought it in troves, partially to support him, partially just to have it on a cloud save backup so you're not, oh, my browser ate my things and I lost all my saves. Hint, hint. Scroll back an hour in the podcast.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's going to be the
I
way to
bought
do
it.
it. That's going to be the way to do it.
I bought this is gonna this is not gonna turn into another rant about computer software. I bought paint.net in the Windows Store. I used it for free. I have to manually update it once in a while, but it's just a few clicks. And then he said, "Hey, we're putting this in the Microsoft App Store.
Yeah, yeah.
If you buy it there, it's $5. It'll auto update. It supports me, and it just you don't have to think about updates anymore. It's the same software, the same one putting out for free. You're just voluntarily giving a donation." And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do that because it's $5. It's no hassle, and I never have to worry about updates because they'll just Windows will handle the updating for me.
We need to talk about that. I'm putting a pin in this. Write this down on your pad that you finally found with one of your fancy Micron pens. We need to figure out auto updating for Electron built apps. It generates an installer. We should figure out how to check if there's a new version of the installer at whatever fixed location. I want to look out. I want to look into that. If you buy Can Do, you should never have to update it. We should give you the newest version. It should just happen when you go to start it. But yeah, I wanna put Can Do on itch. I want to put Can Do on Steam, and you can do both of them. Can Do. It's such a great name. My names are unilaterally terrible, and that's one of the best bad names for that game.
Can Do, brought to you by the authors of Smort.
It's a smart sorting game.
There, I wrote it down in my .15 millimeter pen.
Can you see that? Does that like
Yes,
put ink in between the molecules of the paper or what?
basically, yeah.
The big
Have you ever written with a sewing needle?
I haven't even sewn with a sewing needle. That's not true. I have sewn with a sewing needle. That is so tiny. So tiny, so
Yes.
precise. And I'm with you. Like, if you I view it the same way Jiggy always yells about Twitch. If you want to play the game, there's going to be a way to go out there and play it for free. We're going to have a version up on the website all the time. Why not? You may get a couple extra bells and whistles if you throw a couple bucks at us, but it's not going to be like we lock large parts of the game away. The game itself is going to be something you can get to free. Go play on the web. If you want it
Yeah.
on your phone, throw us a buck. Otherwise, play it in the browser on your phone. If you want it on your desktop,
Mm-hmm.
throw us a buck. Otherwise, go play it in the browser, you know?
Yeah. I have a number of dumb games that I had bought over the years in the App Store. Here's $1. If I'm out somewhere, I will pay $1 for, race to the bottom
Yeah.
dollar App Store. And if I get an hour or two of hell, if I get 15 minutes of enjoyment for that dollar of that dumb app, that one time, it was probably worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I have long joked like in that time is money sense. Thinking about the minimum wage and everything, it's like if I hired someone to just sit and talk to me for an hour and paid them minimum wage for that. They're not doing any hard work. Just hold up your end of a conversation. I need entertained for an hour. If I'm entertained for more than an hour, it was absolutely worth less than minimum wage, you know? Especially because that's something split amongst a bunch of people. But that, for a very long time, that was my metric. And now I am not making minimum wage, but we're not going to talk about money. We're not going to talk about money today. But yeah, I used to have an app on the App Store, and it got removed because the I didn't keep it updated, and everything it was built with and the version it was built for on the Google Play Store is now out of date, so it got taken down. But I had a wind chimes app that used the motion sensor in your phone to make wind chimes ding, and it was free,
Yeah.
but you could make an in-app purchase for a buck if you liked it to say thank you, like you were talking about before, donationware. Sinister Sudoku was the same way, which, by the way, we need to redo that one. That one will absolutely sell. We need to
Oh,
redo
yeah.
that one. Yeah, that's very much on the list, especially now that we know how to do it not in Flash anymore.
Well, that's something that definitely we need to go back and unflash a bunch of it. We were talking about electronics, that
Yeah,
the Flash game. I found in preparing for my computer move, I was basically going through my attic of files and like getting rid of stuff so there's less stuff to transfer around back and forth, and like just zipping 1,000 files up into one package, so because file transfer and stuff. And I found a bunch of files from when I went to ITT almost 20 years ago now. And one of them, I had to make a simple little page to prove I knew HTML, so I didn't have to take the intro to HTML class. And I made a thing, and one of them was talking about this game I like to play by Hergel Studios, and it was a Flash game. I'm like, wait a minute, wait. How old is this file? That name wasn't used back then. So was the domain. Also, this game is there. Also, where was this game? I remember this now. And I was teasing Jay, like, where did this go? He's like, oh, it was one of the old Flash games. Like, so in theory, we could put it back up. Yeah.
the problem is the god awful games in that little hidden secret section were all written
Yeah.
in ActionScript 2.
Ugh.
Ruffle supports ActionScript 2, which is why those are still up and live on the site. Is there is a web plugin that lets you play those. When I started to get serious about it, and I made Jonker and Panda Bowling and what else was even up there? God, I'd have to go back and look. There were a ton of them though. Jonker's the first one that comes to mind.
Is that the card game?
That was the like Mahjong Solitaire, but you built poker hands.
Okay.
The
Maybe that's
card
what I'm
game
thinking.
was minute poker. You had 60 seconds to take or pass on a deck of cards that had been shuffled to build poker hands. See, all these are games we could remake relatively easily now, knowing
Oh
what we
yeah.
do. I just have to go back
And
and get the
probably
list and pull our source out. Yeah.
and probably fairly quickly because a lot of them like, oh, we have a couple we make a couple of libraries. Here is how a card works. Here is our card graphic. Okay, that's 40% of 8 different games done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have the bulk of the assets because I have all the project folders for all that stuff. We need to. I'm. When is spring break? I'm gonna take spring break. I'm gonna message my boss. I'm gonna tell him I'm taking a week off because I'm gonna write 10 games, and he's gonna say, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm gonna say, "I already made them. I'm gonna remake them. I'm going to. I'm going to buff up the entirety of the Hergel catalog by bringing back all the old games fixed." And knowing my boss, he's going to be like, "Okay, yes, absolutely. Let me know when they're done. Give me links to buy them in the App Store." He keeps trying to find a way to give me money for Smort. So
Oh,
I guess I have to put it in the App Store at some point.
he's that guy that makes that daily visit to Smort
That would
and
be
has the
him.
on driving up the on page time by hours and hours of on the average because one person has that page open for 6 hours a day.
That is my direct supervisor at work that plays it all the damn time. Because I have watched him play it on his phone when we're in the office together. He came up for a in-person event because he doesn't live in the same state anymore. He's moved, but once or twice a year he'll come into town and we'll have a team get together, just a team building event. And we've been at one of those, and I've watched him play this game on his phone during those. Yes, exactly. Shut up and take his money. That's what I need to do. Just put a credit card reader on his phone. Tell him it's a buck a round. No, no. I won't turn away his
Oh
money if he
man.
wants to buy it. But
Oh man. Here's an idea. A magic hand wave that the technology is just easy to do. We support an NFC tap transaction.
just outside the App Store?
No, in your app.
I'm not
You can
entirely sure
buy
I
it.
follow, but
You have to find another person with the app and they put it into buy mode and they can buy you unlock yours by buying it there. So you have to find 2 people with it to buy it. You can only buy it from another user of the app.
there are App Store rules around that because I have looked into
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but I
I know
love
they
the
get
concept.
places like Square get special dispensation for, stuff like that. But like yeah, like you can use tap to pay to buy it, but you have to buy it for somebody else. I tap my phone onto your phone and I pay with my tap money to unlock your copy.
Interesting. Interesting.
It's like key signing, but with in-app purchases.
Put that one in the incubator. It needs to bake a little bit longer, but I see something there. I
You
have.
smell funny, cat.
Oh, that no, that's me. You can just smell me
No,
all the
it's
way over there.
no. He smells weird.
Cat's breath smells like cat food. But I have one of those readers for doing craft shows and stuff. Used to be back in the old days, it would plug into your headphone jack, which tells you how old we're talking about, and it had a magnetic strip reader that you could just Swipe your magnetic stripe on your credit card through this thing plugged into some stranger's phone and buy stuff that way. The new ones connect to your phone via Bluetooth, and they have a
Ew.
chip reader.
Okay.
They have the NFC tap and they have a chip reader, but they don't have a magnetic strip reader anymore. So if your
Well, because
chip
that's
doesn't
a
work,
horribly magnet
yeah,
stripes are
I
dumb.
I know, but on those rare occasions, someone's got a card where like the chip is cracked because they've used it at every single booth. You know,
I my Apple card, one of those metal Apple cards. I for a lot of reasons I started using that for a lot of transactions. But I wore out the paint and eroded enough of the contacts on the chip that I had to get a replacement.
nice.
I can't like it was being finicky, and I contacted the support line from like, this is not connecting. What's the lifespan on these? Like, oh no, it should be like a decade or so. Like the chip in there is like infinitely robust. And I like, oh, well, it looks like this. And I took a picture and I put it on a private imager link and I pasted that into the chat. And they're like, you should go and request a new card. You have worn the contacts off past the top gold plating thing and it's making not the right resistance thing. Go request a new card.
That is amazing.
And I'm like, it's only like 3 years old. How should that pipe be possible to like, no.
Do you
That's actually part of the
where
reasons why they
where
changed
do you shop? A bear trap?
everywhere.
No, I know.
It,
I'm just
it's the old problem that like NES has had, where some of the
the
pins
contacts would
were
yeah.
more tension, so they push down harder, so it scrape slightly more, and then they wear down over time. And some people don't replace their reader, so they don't spring down hard enough, and they don't want to put too much pressure on the card, so they're like microns above amount of pressure, and so it's like if it's out of spec, it's not. Yeah,
I feel you. I feel you. I have a couple cards I probably need to replace as well, but
this is actually why your credit cards expire after 4 years or so. Is it's the wear and tear on the card.
yeah, no,
I
my
mean,
bank
part of
cards
it's a
like that.
security thing, but like it's the way the cards just disintegrate over time, and
Yep,
it's because you're interacting with them.
absolutely, absolutely.
What are you chewing on, cat?
What is he chewing on? Hi,
What
Lassiter.
are
You
you
don't need to
chewing on?
eat whatever that is. I assure you. Lassiter's such a sweet-looking cat. I don't know if he is a sweet cat. He's always been kind to me, but he's a sweet-looking cat.
He has a known aggression problem, but usually it's because he's hungry, and he's hungry now because it's past dinner and he did not get enough dinner because he's fat, but his food is regulated.
That sounds like
I
me
automated
too.
my cat. I got an automatic dispensing feeder so that. Stop. No, he's
Don't
trying to
eat my
paw
everything.
my sheets of cable labels.
I am
Oh, also I
also
labeled all of my things
I am
because,
unsurprised by that. I am pleased, but I am unsurprised.
well, like we said, I had a million I have all of the USB things like, "Oh, I need to unplug that thing." Crap, which one is it?
Yeah, yeah. I have that problem with my keyboard right now. My keyboard has been randomly dying at points, and I will just unplug and replug the USB connection for it.
That is a known problem with a certain brand and age of USB chip that has plagued pretty much headphones and microphones for decades because there was a huge batch of them that have that problem. There's a counter in the system on a chip, and it counts up over time because that's how you sync USB codes and stuff,
Yeah,
and it overflows after
interesting.
about at just under 4 hours. It's either like 3.5 hours or 4 hours. It overflows the bits, and it math breaks. And the problem is you unplug it and plug it back in. You're rebooting that chip, and then it works. It's because there's a counter that overflows.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And we're not talking a super fancy keyboard here either. I mean, it's pink and it's
No,
mechanical. Those were my requirements. It happens to light up, but I don't really have a huge investment into that. It's pink because I couldn't find one I liked in purple. Because as I've mentioned, and you may have guessed, I am a crazy purple people. I'm debating a new keyboard. Not immediately, but in the relatively near future. And if they didn't quit making the one singular mouse I like, I'm so mad about that still. The Idea Zone Reaper Edge that was available at GameStop, and it was branded as a World of Warcraft mouse. It had software with macros and what. But that was the nicest feeling mouse I have ever used, and they quit making it. All the things I love get discontinued.
get an MX Master 3. I'm
MX
telling
Master
you.
3, huh?
I will bring one over next. I will bring one over next time, and I'll let you put your hand on it. It is very ergonomically shaped. It has just enough extra buttons to be useful, but not like I needed 18 key D-pad on the side of my Razer mouse.
Yeah.
It's got a horizontal scroll wheel on your thumb for scrolling sideways.
Interesting. Are your forward and back vertical or are they horizontal?
Uh, horizontal?
They're side by side, they're not above each other.
Yes.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. I'm not I'm picky but I'm not. I have very strong preferences about my input peripherals. But if they are not met, I do not care at all. Like I know the one that's perfect for me. If I don't have the one that's perfect for me, anything will do.
Well, I'll tell you this. The battery life on this is very good. I computer a lot
Right.
and I game a lot. I get 18 hours a day out of my computer a lot of times. I barely have to charge this once a week, maybe, and that's only if I've been like gaming a lot because I'm moving. Also, there's something rattling around in there, and that worries me.
That sounds
Uh,
healthy.
that's not good.
Shake it harder. See if it rattles less. Don't shake your.
Um, but the battery life is like insane.
Yes, it's the secret prize inside your mouth. Shake it loose. It's a baseball card with a bad joke and a piece of gum on it. I don't know.
But it does multi mode. It'll connect to the Magic Lightning 4 dongle thing that
Yeah, dongle.
uh Logitech. But it supports 3 profiles, so I can hit a button and it'll like connect to a different device just instantly.
Yeah, yeah. That could be
But
handy. That could be
yeah,
very handy, honestly. Yeah, I'll have to look into
and
that.
and if you get an MX Master 3 S, it's got silent clicking.
You know.
Streamers.
No, no, I want a Model M. I want a mouse that goes thud when I press the button. When I am computering, y'all ought to know. I want that shit brought to your attention. I want to get kicked out of the office for typing too loud, all right? That's my goal. I have a Model M that I need to clean up and restore in the garage right now.
Mouse with buckling spring.
Yes, I want I want my noises to drown out everybody else talking. Oh, sorry, I was typing, and everyone else is like, "What? I can't hear you. I'm deafened by clicking."
Mighty Mouse.
The Mighty Mouse.
Unicomp Mighty Mouse. Apparently, it's the Unicomp Mighty Mouse. Somebody they make it.
I'm into it. I am so into it. Let me tell you something else about keyboards while I'm yelling about keyboards. I understand for some people, desk space is at a premium. And for some people, there are sets of keys that they don't use.
That
Yeah.
or something else.
Well, no,
People are like,
I'm gonna yell that um, I want all the keys on my keyboard. I need
oh
arrow
my
keys.
god,
I need a
oh
10
my
key.
god.
And I know many people that do just fine without them, but I need those keys. I have a problem because my SO has a keyboard that is a 60% size, no arrows, no 10 key, no insert block. It's just the alpha section, and it's 60% size.
I have a Corsair gaming keyboard with the full bank of the macro buttons on the side, not just the 6. I have 18 extra keys off to the left of my keypad because I needed more keys and I use them. And the keyboard has 3 banks. You can switch those.
There is
Bring a picture of the K95.
Yeah, let me find one of those. Um
This one does my Oh, what did I turn on? Oh, that's weird.
one thing I will say about that though is that it has very much gotten me in a positive habit because I write games in a hurry because I am a lazy person like that, you know. Yeah, here's your K95 with
No,
not that one.
that's not the right one. No.
Interesting.
Uh up. It's on the right column.
That
K95, yeah,
one.
that one.
That
Yes.
one.
Yes, that's the exact one I have. I've got 18 extra keys off to the left that has 3 banks of switching on that and I use them.
Wow. Wow.
Also, it's fully RGB and zoned and I can just it's not even zoned. I can do all the it comes in different flavors, but yeah, I have the one with the
Extra
thing on
bank
the side.
of.
And that's
Damn,
a
dude.
good point. They used to put oh yeah, it was expensive, but I mean, they used to have a USB port on the back for pass through. That was perfect. Actually, Lev, if you look at the bottom left, that bottom bank there with the G, was it 16, 17, 18? I have those mirrored. I have those bottom 4 down there mirrored to send arrow keys. So I can arrow key with my left hand. That's what I use those bottom ones for.
I completely forgot to hit the share to stream button, so now you can see it. I'm sorry you could not see it before.
Oh,
But
oh
yes,
man.
this is a whole lot of keyboard. I miss my DOS keyboard, man.
Oh, is it on stream yet?
It is.
I don't see it on stream. Oh,
It should be.
my stream is just very delayed.
Fair. But
The keyboard I had before this did have the USB on the back. That was perfect for the mouse dongle. So it would be very short range to that. And they stopped doing that for reasons I understand. But yeah. Yes, that is the keyboard I have.
they still sell? They've changed the model quite a bit, but they still sell the DOS keyboard with the blank. And I had this, and I loved it, and my ex did not like it at all because she had not learned how to touch type and where all the keys were yet. But that did kind of force her to, and she did eventually thank me for that. Um, but yeah, I had one of the earlier models before they had the weird cutoff on the top where it just up there. It
Mm.
was just a rectangle, and it had all those keys, and the keys didn't have nothing on them, and I loved it. I loved it.
Oh, um, and my the that K95 also has a in the upper right by the media buttons. Do you remember what computer that? It does have a big roller for volume, so I could just quickly. But it's like one of those bun rollers. I don't know if you I don't know if you can get a shot for the other side of it.
Oh, it's
Uh,
going through all the different models now.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a roller, not a knob. So I can just
Oh,
palm
you can
the
kind of
volume
see
there.
it up there.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
a roller and it's tied to master window volume.
a one-axis trackball?
Yes, basically.
I love it. I love it.
Did I? Oh,
Man. Now I'm thinking about keyboards again. Maybe it is time to replace this keyboard. That's my way of saying
basically
I'm
I just
looking
changed
at
that.
keyboards and I miss them.
Yes, there's definitely a corollary between nerds who have way too many notepads and pens and things, and also are very picky about their keyboards because it is effectively pens for your fingers.
As opposed to the other kind that you use with your elbows. I'm sorry. I could not help myself. You know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Hi, Lassiter. I love you. No, my DOS keyboard was the first mechanical keyboard that I bought. If you don't count a Model M, which I like inherited at one point, it's the first actual like mechanical keyboard I had, and I bought it my very own because I wanted a fancy keyboard, and I loved it, and I absolutely beat it to death. I had the Flex Pro for a while.
Oh my god, I hate that thing so much.
I love that one. I love it. That was all right. I got to bring up another window and show this one off. Keytronic Flex Pro. Let me.
Spiritus, they make those. They totally make those.
All right. Let me turn my share back on and actually remember to share it properly this time. There we go. This is this is the one I'm talking about. It had a knob on the left side to adjust the angle the keyboard split at, and it had wrist rests that were mounted on a rail at the front to adjust. And that was one of the nicest keyboards I ever used. And now I'm back at a flat keyboard as opposed to an ergonomic one. And eventually my carpal tunnel is going to collapse. But
Before the craziness of the Flex Pro, on that third row right column, that
let's see.
one more to the right of that. Yeah, those were were really popular too. Do not buy a $150 used Flex Pro.
I'm not going to buy a $150 used Flex Pro.
Also, it's a DIN connector. How the hell are you going to connect that?
I have an AT to USB.
Ew.
I have an AT to USB in my adapter box because I'm going to need one of those for the Model M.
My
Yeah, the
motherboard actually has a PS2 port on it.
keys go up. It was not like there's a slight incline for your hands natural. It's like keys go up. You could just
Yeah.
crank that knob all the way.
Logitech makes a mouse like that.
Hmm.
That's like
Oh, the
it's
vertical that
basically
hold it like this mouse.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like
Hmm.
slopes up and it's like I've like you look like ew, and then you look at it and like you set your hand down on the desk and you're like, oh yeah,
This makes so much sense when I'm actually yeah.
if you had like severe carpal tunnel problems and you like had to eliminate all rotation, yeah, you could just do that because then you wouldn't rotate like the twist in your ulnar
Arm.
nerve.
Arm. You're a guy that knows a thing about electronics and many things about building things. And we're talking about the Keytronic Flex Pro. Do you know what I want? I want a piano like that.
Tell me what you want. What you really, really want.
I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I want to take a $100 Casio keyboard, one of the cheap ones,
Oh no, 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 no.
and I want to split it in the middle so I have a piano that goes like this. Where's Jackson when you need him? I need to tell him about this idea. I'm gonna yell this at him later. Somebody tell him that he needs an ergonomic piano. We'll make it happen. Come on.
You no. Send that idea to that YouTube guy that does the crazy things with the pianos.
Oh, the hammer
Like
guy.
hammer piano.
Yeah.
Yes, the hammer guy. Send that to him and he will probably make one. Because if all you're doing is moving the switches on an and you're not making a whole electronic keyboard, if you're just
Yeah.
relocating where those are at, yeah, physically you're just adding a bunch of extensions basically and moving the things that you could do.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want to figure out how to do and do that. I wonder. I wonder. I am going to have to think about this more. This is not a complete impossibility. They make modular keyboards. You buy one octave at a time, basically. I wonder if you could do that without them being flush aligned. Or just two and set to different octaves or something. What do we got here? What kind of spyware are you sending me? Oh. Yeah, I could dig that.
It looks really dumb. And if you look at, I think it's like the fourth picture, like the one with in between the two hands, like they've got the angle on it, and you look at it, it's like, oh no, the second hand picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is
That is
yeah,
a much more natural hand position. It is for sure.
it looks dumb, and then you put your hand down on the desk, you're like, oh, that is exactly just how my hands would sit. And every time I see it, like, oh, it's like the Flex Pro for mice.
I could see myself getting used to something like that, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I may have to do some experimenting.
I need to find. I I'll probably never find it. It's on my desk of mess somewhere. I bought during my hand period. I bought a left-handed trackball mouse, and I lost the dongle for it. But I want to get it back working because it would be useful.
Yeah.
But it's a trackball for my left hand.
God, that's so perfect, except it's missing half the damn keyboard. This one's closer, but it's still too compact.
Oh my god. Past me found it.
Really?
I found it at some point and put it back in the little cavity that is in the bottom of where it's stored. I must have found it, and like I will put the mouse dongle inside the mouse so I know where it's at.
This is almost exactly the keyboard I have now, but it's in lilac. Look at that color. That is
Lev Key's a good brand too.
that is a schmexy shade right there. I'm into it. I'm into it.
Interesting. How much is that?
$24.
Oh, that's got to be a mushy ass membrane keyboard. Yep, membrane.
So close.
Huh.
So close. But it's so pretty. No, if I'm going to buy a keyboard, I have to make myself buy it for functionality. I can't buy a keyboard purely for aesthetics.
Are you sure?
per our discussion the other day, I can't buy a keyboard, much less buy a keyboard purely for aesthetics.
I almost bought a USB card today.
I could
I'm like,
understand that.
like it's only $30. It'd give me 7 additional USB ports, including 2 USB Cs. That would solve all of my hub problems.
True, true. I
But
have one
I don't
around.
need to spend $30 on a problem that I have solved.
Do you need more USBs? Do you need a USB card? The reason I ask is I have one. I know where it's at. If you want to, remember I couldn't figure out what to trade you earlier. If you want a USB card, I have one. I'll give you.
I need to get my motherboard manual out and see what USB headers I have on the board itself, because I can always for far cheaper get internal to external headers and use the extra slots in the back and just bring the internal headers out,
Yeah.
because they always have like all these USB headers inside the motherboard that never get used anymore because computers aren't used like that. And it's like, can I just use those externally, please?
We're the last of the holdouts. Using
This board's
desktop
only,
computers.
yeah.
Everybody's on their tablets now. These kids today, face down in their cell phones.
I got my RAM to work.
Dope. Dope.
I bought fancy RGB RAM because, like I said, I went all out crazy nuts with this computer. The Corsair software could not see the Corsair RAM because, and as Batman pointed out, did you update your BIOS? You bought this computer a
Oh.
year ago, so it's at least a year out of date. And then how long was it out of date
Oh.
when it said on the shelf? And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I did not update the BIOS because I didn't think about that. And I updated the BIOS and it showed up, and then I updated the firmware on my RAM.
That's not how that works. That's not how any
It
of this
is,
works.
but yes, I have fancy rain falling effects on my RAM.
Ew. I mean, neat, but ew. You and I, need to talk after this as well about uh, help me set up a hardware for somebody. Help me pick out a hardware wish list for somebody.
Okay.
Um, we have a mutual friend that's looking for a specific goal of machine. We'll go into in more detail later.
Yeah.
Man,
All right.
I ooh oh ooh, we're getting the fancy view. Okay, that's different than what I expected, and I'm not as ew as I was before.
The RAM does a vertical. It's blown out all to hell. Um, but the RAM does a vertical falling thing. The I have a chasing along the channels of the RGB strip that's on my CPU cooler. The fans on the front, it's broken right now because I messed up one of the fans. They're in the wrong order, but it's supposed to chase in a figure eight pattern around the edges of the front fans from one fan to another. And then the fans up top, the one directly above the CPU cooler, is color coded to the temperature of my CPU. When my CPU is cranked up, it goes from green to yellow to red. And the one to the right, not above the CPU cooler, is tied to the temperature of my video card.
Bruh.
When I said I decked out this computer because I wanted to,
I'm over here looking for a piece of electrical tape to put over the power light so my computer doesn't light up at all because it bothers me. Oh, jeez, man. That's gorgeous,
yeah, we're
though.
gonna take
That
a
really
quick
is.
tour of Fuzzy
Ooh,
Land here.
heck yeah. I see
So,
three
my old
beverages.
development, my a development monitor, my video mount for the overhead cam, my third monitor, which is a 43-inch TV, you, my main monitor is a 32-inch massive thing, my vertical monitor, and then my computer. So I just have a whole.
Nerd.
This is where I live and work.
That's a nice setup, though, for real. That is a nice setup.
Oh yeah, and then I have my nerd shelf of all my figurines and stuff, and more up there in the dark you can't see.
Snazzy.
Yes, I am a nerd. I collect stuff.
For all my joking, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
I'm telling you, man, shelves. Put
I,
up
ne-
shelves.
I need shelves. I need to put up shelves, 100%.
Turn
You are right.
Turn your unused horizontal space, unused vertical wall space into horizontal space.
It is what I need to do. It is what I need to do. I know that. Can you wall mount a calyx?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I need to do in here.
No. The calyx is way too deep because they're 12 by 12 by 12 cubes. You want the other one. You want a half depth cube shelf.
Oh, good. I'll buy a calyx and cut it in half this way. I know windmills do not work that way, but
actually, no. You probably could get away with that. I think I have the right saws to do that too.
That would actually be basically an ideal solution for what I want. What I need is a half scale calyx. I need 6 by 6 by 6 cubes. But I need this entire wall behind me covered in 6 by 6 by 6 cubes. I don't know. I should plan something out.
I swear to God, this is not a secretly advertised by Amazon. We're shilling products, but Albion, no, not tape. They make a product called light dims. They are you probably. Oh, this is a better shot. They are little stickers of various sizes and strips that you can put over things, and they come in various blocking percentages and also opaque. These ones are 80. I have this one's 80% and this one's 100%. But if you absolutely need to block, you put the 100%. But if you want to dim it so you can still see if the status light is on, but not light up your room.
Bro, I did not know these were a thing.
And you can see by the sheet, they come in various sizes. Yeah.
Well, okay, that would solve one of my problems.
You can get them at Micro Center. They're cheap. It's a sheet of semi opaque plastic. It's literally $2. Do you should I bring those over on Monday and we'll cover up some of your LEDs?
Yes, and I need to go buy like 4 sheets of them and make my own eclipse glasses out of them. Do you think that would be enough that I could stare at the sun without my eyes just bursting out of my head?
No.
If I put like 4 layers of the 80%?
No.
If I put like 12 layers of the 80% directly onto my eyeballs?
Just below the big header where it says brand, if you click on light dims, you can see their other products. They do come in white in case to put on like PS2s and stuff. But they do come in various opacities.
Yeah.
Most likely you're going to find the 80% ones. Make sure you're not accidentally buying opaque ones and when you want the 80% ones or vice versa.
Yeah.
They do make 60% ones. Although I don't think they make them anymore. They also just have whole sheets of them.
Interesting. Silver.
Yeah. It's basically yes, if you have little LEDs that are way too bright, you can put on them to dim them down, but you can still see the status light on them. And in
Homemade
a pinch, you can
mirrored
just use a Sharpie.
shades. Homemade mirrored shades. I cannot stop thinking that.
There
Far
was an
out.
LED on the baby monitor that we had, that the LED was bright enough that it was triggering the night vision mode on the camera. It would not go to night vision mode because the room was lit up enough, technically, by the LED on the front of the device. And we couldn't ever figure out why the night vision mode was never kicking in. So it's like, it's so dark, but you can kind of see. I'm like, I went in there and I just took a Sharpie. I just put a single like
Boop.
swipe
Yep.
over it. And Sharpie on plastic is not going to opaquely cover it, but it's going to dim it enough. You can still see the light, so we know the camera's on. And then the night vision instantly clicked on. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wild.
They changed the LED brand or something, like, oh, we'll swap it to this one, which is slightly brighter or a different wavelength or something. Yes, I am the type of person that trolls around the weird parts of the internet and Amazon, and I see all these weird products and stuff like that, and I know they exist. So if you ever have a need for something, I'm the person to talk to, like, hey, I have this problem. Like, I know exactly the product you need to go buy because I know it exists.
I'm going to have to keep that in mind because you keep finding things for problems that I didn't realize were solvable problems. Or I
Yeah.
have some hackneyed solution for it or something like that.
Like Stink Balm, which is actually this camera doesn't focus, is actually the name of this product called Stink Bomb. Also available on Amazon. I think it was originally a Kickstarter. Now they sell them everywhere. It's scented. It's chapstick you rub on your upper lip to provide smell to your nose to cover up smells if you happen to be in a place that has smells.
Like the bottle of peppermint oil in an operating room.
This was made by nurses.
Yep. I called
And I
that
have
one.
the orange and the vanilla. It came up called the creamsicle, and you just put one, and it's like you just walk around smelling scented wax on your mustache, basically, and it just is enough to take the edge off of wherever you may be.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that being vital in that situation.
I
Medical
use it for
stuff.
cleaning the litter box.
Medical stuff is gross. I was gonna make some joke about you cleaning the litter box using the little stick to like. I don't even know how you would do that, and say like I use a
No, with
scoop.
chopsticks.
No, no, no. I spent too much money on my fancy chopsticks.
We never did get to the first topic that was on the list, but I'm kind of curious of what it was. But we can save that for another. Put that back in the later pile, because that's what I do want to hear the story about.
The permit one, like that
Or just
first
ice cream
topic.
trucks in general.
Yeah. No, I was gonna
Yeah.
make you tell the story about the well, you know, we'll go back over that though. We'll keep that on our list.
Yeah.
We're actually going to be wrapping up relatively shortly here because I need some nuggets, preferably chicken, but I'm starting to become very not picky.
I think I
It's
have some nuggets.
I am getting not hangry, but require food impacting mood. Um, so I got to figure out what I got to do with it. Do I want to go get myself nuggies? I might. I might.
I was up bright and early this morning, like legitimately early, and I went and got. I had to go out to the pharmacy, and I stopped and got breakfast because it's the only time I really go get breakfast. Is the once a month I'm required to go out during the daytime
Yeah.
just to go to the pharmacy, and I got a Coke Zero with my breakfast because I did not want breakfast fluids. And she handed me the cup, and you could see through it. Usually, when you get this isn't Coke, but usually Coke is pretty opaque.
Yeah.
I could see through it. It looked like a glass of iced tea. And there was a line behind me, and I was impatient, and I just wanted to get home and get food because it was cold, and I did not question it. And I'm like, their mix is their mix is running out, and that was way too much like seltzer or something. But it was I had Coke flavored Lacroix basically.
Yeah.
It was
Memories of
the most
cola.
yeah, and I
That's
was sad because I just really wanted.
I get it. I get it. I very much get it. I will say I've never had that problem at a Taco Bell, and maybe it's just me. Taco Bell breakfast is also not bad.
It's bad for you.
Yes, yes.
It is horribly bad for you, which is why it's so delicious. Do not look at the nutritional sheet for like the breakfast hexagons.
Oh, I am
Oh my god.
acutely aware of that. Yeah.
I was very much watching my sodium for a while and still kind of am. And every morning I'd go to drop off the kid at daycare over there, and there's a Taco Bell right there. So I would pop on through and get a Taco Bell if they decided to be opened that day. And
Nobody wants to
I
work
sometimes I would get
anymore.
they went through an ownership change, I found out, which wasn't an understaffing, it was a change of ownership, and they were having to hire new people, and some days they would have people in the morning and some days they wouldn't, and some days that Taco Bell closed at 11 p.m.
Sorry, I had to move a cat off of my vocal processor. Otherwise, I would sound like a robot or something. Yeah. Um, like I said, the Bob Evans over here had something very similar happen, and a lot of my favorite restaurants are losing their favorite status for similar reasons. Burger King in the general Northeast Ohio area where we are, one of the major franchisees went bankrupt, and like three-quarters of the Burger Kings near us all closed all at once, no notice.
Yeah.
They all blew up, and I'm mad because Burger King breakfast is really good too. I'm so mad I'm flapping my hands.
Well, if you still want Burger King breakfast, just go to Sheets.
The Chris sandwiches just ain't the same. There's something about it. I don't know. I'm a Chris sandwich man, and part of that is what's the it's, emotional nostalgia. I can't come up with the
Nostalgia.
right word. Yeah, I have an emotional connection to Burger King.
If you want actual drive-through good Chris sandwich meals, Wendy's. Their breakfast Chris sandwich. They have various croissant-based foods that are very on par with Burger King, and they're very better and more substantial. They're not, a nickel worth of cheese and a half an egg on, a doily of pastry,
Yeah.
but like
All
their
right.
actual breakfast sandwiches, not just here are some calories, but they're good.
I'm into that. I'm into that. I'll have to check them out.
A couple years ago, when McDonald's did the big push with all day breakfast, everybody's like, oh, look, breakfast food is good. Then when McDonald's dropped the ball and got rid of all day breakfast because everybody in their stores hated it because it was twice as much food slots to keep on standby and warm, everybody else stepped up their breakfast game because they realized McDonald's had this big monopoly on breakfast. And that's when Taco Bell breakfast happened. And then one by one, everybody else is like, hey, we all can have breakfast and have another 4 hours of income in the day. So everybody stepped up, and breakfast at other places is actually pretty good.
I wish McDonald's would bring back 24-hour I know it was a pain, and they didn't sell a ton of it. I wish they had because I prefer breakfast foods as a rule.
Yeah.
Let's open our own fast food joint. All will sell us breakfast all day.
Jason, that's called putting a drive-through on a Denny's.
Yes, but let us do that. That is what I want.
If
I
you could have a order ahead drive-through pickup of Denny's food, where I did not have to get out of the park, get out of the car, go inside, and get my pickup to go order. If places had drive-throughs that all you could do is pick up your online order, hint hint, Chipotle Express, which is what they literally did, I would order more to go restaurant foods if I did not have to get out of the car. And yes, I know curbside pickup, but that's always still horribly slow.
All right, let me ask you a question. And I think we're going to close on this question, but I want your opinion on it because you mentioned Chipotle and we've been talking about breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
If instead of the rice, you could get hash browns with eggs scrambled into them, Chipotle breakfast, what do you
Oh,
think?
absolutely.
You think that would
Absolutely.
work?
Yeah, I mean they already have they have like the fajita veggies. That would go great on a breakfast scramble. Think about breakfast scrambles. They usually have some amount of vegetable crap on it. You know, your Southwest bowls have a bunch of that. Yeah, breakfast burrito in a bowl.
I would 100% eat a Chipotle breakfast burrito
Mm-hmm.
with Fiesta lime eggs. Okay, maybe not the lime cilantro in it, but yeah, instead of the rice, hash
Not
browns
no
and
no no
eggs.
not the cilantro. No, put the cilantro in the bulk scrambled eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
But instead of the cilantro in the hash browns, tahini. Get the same lime stuff.
I think we are going to have to make Chipotle breakfast burritos and try them out for ourselves. And then pitch it to the company and watch it go nowhere. Breakfast burritos are stupid popular, though.
They'll just pull a Babylon 5.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You know that reference, right?
I do. I do. Feel
With
free.
DS9, yeah.
Yeah. Same show.
The
Same
guy who
show.
came up with the premise for sci-fi show on a space station, aka DS9 and also Babylon 5, pitched it to one of the companies and they said, "Nah, we don't like we'll pass on the premise. We've got our ship on the story of the week thing." And then they sat on it for a year and then he pitched it to uh
Sci-fi.
Paramount
Or yeah.
Paramount and came out and they started making DS9 and then like, oh, they hurry up and took the idea which got submitted and they hurry up and crapped out Star Trek DS9 to compete with Babylon 5, which was the same showrunner and the same creator that he had pitched it to them, and they rejected the idea and then totally went and did it as soon as somebody else found the funding to make Babylon 5. And they're like, "Oh, this is actually going to be a good thing. We should Oh, look, we have this script that we've had in the rejection pile that we technically should not have been able to use." And yeah.
Marvels of Hollywood, man. I'm telling you. All right, yeah, that's going to do it for me for tonight, and you as well. Thank you very much for being here, joining us on the Blue House Bowl session. We'll be back again next Wednesday doing this one more time. If you have any questions or things you want us to talk about, feel free to drop a message in the Discord down below or just hit up either one of us personally. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is one of the highlights of my week. I know I say that on my Friday streams too, but like hanging out with all of you guys and especially you, Fuzzy, just getting a chance to talk to you and yell for a couple hours. I love this. Thank you for being part of this. Be safe, be well. We will catch you guys on the flip side.